this in every week. So this is part 3 of our Ultimate Communication Toolkit. We are going to be doing effectively communicating in conflict. The last 2 videos, if you remember, I'll refresh memories. Part 1 was just effective communication. We talked about what that meant. Just kind of generally speaking, we had our communication majors sharing from the textbook point of view what that looked like. Then part 2, we moved into what effective communication looked like in relationships, and some of our challenges were practicing like I statements, learning to be vulnerable, trying to figure out how we could be heard and okay with it, and like a lot of self-worth was kind of tied into that. And so now we're revisiting communication again, and talking about conflict and how to have healthy communication in conflict. Again, communication is so big that I'm sure we're going to revisit communication down the road. And so for purposes of this video as well, it's kind of communicating in healthy relationships. We'll address the toxic relationships kind of down the road, but this at least gets us practiced and grounded. And you will notice we have a new face on camera with us today.
Hi, Noe. He's our cameraman.
Yes, so Noe's usually behind the scenes, but we invited him to join us because Noe and Itzel are a couple.
About to be 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Wow.
So in the interest of our toolkit, in the interest of learning to have effective communication in conflict, we wanted to have a real life couple that could kind of share and be honest and kind of put their stuff out there and be okay for the purposes of our audience. So I want to have you guys do an experiment with me. Destiny is familiar with this experiment. So we're going to have Itzel and Noe, you're going to do this together. So one of you is going to make a fist, while the other person that's not making the fist is going to try to open the fist. You can try to open the fist however you want to open the fist. Okay, this is healthy relationships. I'm not condoning like abuse, this isn't the point. But for purposes of this healthy relationship, healthy fun experiment, one person has a fist, the other person tries to open the fist in whatever manner is possible. We'll let one partner go for 20 seconds-ish, unless it's really fun, and then we'll just watch and see what happens. And then we'll switch, and then we'll talk about it.
I'm gonna laugh. I'm sorry.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
All right, so Itzel's closing the fist. And
She's like,
yeah. So Noe, you're going to try to open her fist however you can possibly try to open it.
please don't break it.
And your 20 seconds starts now.
Okay, can I force it open? If not, can you just open the fist?
Oh,
Does that count?
Right.
Does that count?
I mean, I guess she listened. Yeah. All right. Now we can switch.
Okay.
Wait. Start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Can you open your hand, please? No?
You want me to open that?
Yeah. Please. No? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened?
I just asked. We both asked nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you always ask nicely, do you always get what you want?
No. Realistically? No.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not all the time.
Yeah. Would you say you're the challenge? So like to overcome that challenge, do you think that it's like? Do you see how it relates to overcoming a conflict at all?
Yeah. I just think like if we would have done this like in the beginning of our relationship, it would have been harder. I feel like I would have been like forcing it open or maybe trying to tickle him.
Okay.
Because like I wasn't comfortable with just asking like, hey, can you just open your fist?
Yeah.
So I think definitely like back then like conflicts were harder to talk about versus now.
Yeah. Oh, that's true too.
I would have just warned her that I was just gonna force you to open.
Yeah.
Just before I did it.
Yeah.
I would have just been like, "You ready?" And then
I'm gonna tickle you or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe like twist her.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I think it's interesting that you both just have the same strategy, which could say something to like kind of fighting fair, in the relationship.
Yeah.
Do you have any observations or thoughts?
I just remember like when I did this, I was forcing that thing open with like, it's like, you know, when babies are holding something, they're just trying to open it and they won't. That was me with like my partner. Yeah. Like in school or something. But
yeah, you guys are very polite. I've definitely seen it. And I mean, I think it is interesting because it does, I think it does ring true a little bit on like our styles of communicating, like how aggressive are we? Or like some people just like the challenge, like if my goal is to open it, I'm going to open it no matter what, you know? And like sometimes that's our mindset and it's like, I have to win the fight. If I'm gonna do that, I have to win the fight no matter what. And we forget like compromising. Or it might be manipulating, like, oh please come, or like that you mentioned tickling, you know, like maybe we're manipulating in some way, or maybe, you know, if it is gets physical. But so it is interesting on like what our style of communicating and then how we want to resolve the conflict, I guess. So when we think of conflict, what words do you associate with conflict?
No.
Okay.
Like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah. Is that the only word we think of?
I feel like sometimes why can be like a trigger word.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you guys are looking. Oh, trigger words. Yeah. Okay.
Like when you keep saying why instead of like if you keep asking why instead of just accepting like whatever.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you looking for like a trigger word? Is that what, or just like?
No, I was just curious.
That.
Yeah. When you hear the word conflict, what words pop in your head that relate to conflict?
Just lying.
Oh. Okay.
Lying.
Yeah.
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 Any other ones?
I think those are like the main ones. Like no, hearing no is like, damn.
Yeah, and like so the words too of is like lying, saying no. It's kind of like negative, and so like that's when I think we assume conflict is going to be negative, and like, but the reality is like it's a part of life. You know, it's like it shows up in so many areas. Like we might not even realize it. You know, like, I don't know, running late and I get a phone call. That's a conflict. Like, what do I do? Do I tell this person, like, hey, I'm running late, I can't talk? Or, you know, and so we're constantly battling conflicts, but I think it's learning how to respond and how to effectively communicate and how to handle them. Okay, so we have a couple with us that's in a healthy relationship. Fingers crossed they're in with help. And we know that conflict is part of our life. And are you willing to share with our audience, for purposes of learning activities, a conflict that you guys recently were faced with or overcame or are in the middle of that you could kind of share?
Yes, I got one.
Perfect.
So this was like in our early stages of like our relationship. I would always be used to like going out because I'm always like indoors, especially with the whole like COVID, and like he was the opposite. Like he would go to class or he would go to work or like just go out with his friends. But I remember like I was so used to like if someone came over to my house, I would have to entertain them. So that's why I wanted to go out, and like he would be like, I've been out all the time, I just want to like chill and relax. But I'd be like, I know I want to go out. So I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about to slow down and be like, hey, I feel like going out, or like thinking about his perspective. I was just like, I just want to go out. So I never, and I also was not used to him like being like, no, I don't want to go out. Because like, no, he never says no to me.
Yeah, so the conflict for you was not being able to tell him, no, you don't want to go out?
Yeah, or no, I don't want to stay in.
Oh,
that was a conflict.
Okay.
Being like, hey, Bubba, I don't want to stay at my house, or I don't want to go to your house.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want to be in the house.
Yeah. So what would you do instead?
I'd be like, can we go get food? Can we go get snacks? Can we go walk? I don't know, something else.
Yeah. Okay. But so you never really addressed the reason why you didn't want to stay at the house?
It wasn't until he was like, you don't have to entertain me. Because I would be like, like if we were to stay home, I'd be like, let's watch a movie, let's watch a show.
Yeah.
Or do you want popcorn? Do you want water? Like I was just so used to that. Yeah, and he's like, you don't have to, like you can sit down, like I can go get it. And I was like, but I feel like I need to entertain you when you're at my house.
Yeah.
And he like was like, that's not what you have to do. So he was the one to be like, you don't have to do that. And like I was like, why? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
That was so unheard of, to me.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, you don't have to. Like, I want to stay home and I want to stay with you. You know, to spend time together, but you don't have to entertain me because like I'm already with you. That's what I value more.
Yeah.
Not you running around to go get food, popcorn, water, snacks. You know.
So, Noe, what's your version of the conflict?
I was just confused. I was just confused. I didn't know why. At the time, I didn't know why you didn't want to go out so badly. I thought you thought that like just me hanging out with you and not doing anything, I thought it was boring you. And so when you were like, no, I don't want to stay at home with you.
I remember that.
Can we just go out? Like in my head, I'd just be like, damn, am I like really that boring? So then I thought I had to entertain her by like, doing whatever she wanted to do. But I guess it just got to a point where like I wasn't really feeling it whenever we went out because I didn't feel like going out, and then she could tell. And like
he was
so,
just like done.
Yeah, I would just be like, it wouldn't be like a rude kind of ignoring her. It would just be like, I'm just generally tired.
Yeah.
And then she'd be like, why aren't you like in the moment? And I would be like, I wouldn't know what to say either. And it wasn't until we talked it out that it was just like, I just want to settle down and just relax. Like it doesn't matter if we're like talking to each other, or maybe she's on her phone, I'm on my phone, and we're not doing anything at all. Like as long as I can just feel her presence right next to me, like that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah.
And like one of the things I told her is that like, you know, if we ever plan to like move in together, like that's how it's gonna be sometimes. You know, like, or like when we have our own careers, she's gonna be doing her own thing and I'm gonna be doing my own thing, but we're gonna be in the same place, and it's like we don't have to do the same thing always.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So so you guys jumped ahead to like the now and like applying effective communication, but to go back and like just be in the conflict. I mean, it's so fascinating. I'm glad that we have both of you here because we get to see two perspectives, and that's what a lot of times when we're defining conflict, it's like we want, or sometimes we think we want different things. You guys wanted the same thing to be together, but you were like making assumptions or not understanding the other person's point of view. And so it's like kind of funny that you were trying to get to the same goal, but the conflict was still there because of either the backgrounds we were coming from or just the way we were looking at it. So one, I think that's very interesting, and I think that's how conflict can show up, and without even just checking and being like, hey, it seems like you're always like want to be out and about. Like, is there a reason, you know, we can't just sit and chill, you know? And like that could have been stopped quickly, but we don't know how to do that because nothing's modeled for us.
I don't think I like communicated with her well in the beginning of like what I think, you know, like of it not being a big deal that we don't do anything, and that we don't entertain each other. Yeah. Because I was so used to doing that already with my friends. Like with my friends, we don't have to talk about that amongst each other. Yeah. Because we're like, we think the same. And that's pretty much it. And it took me a while to understand that like me and her don't think the same. Yeah. Which is like okay. Yeah. But it's just okay.
You can't read my mind.
Exactly. Yeah. So like already wired to thinking that like, you know, that anybody would get it that would hang out with me. Yeah. But I was totally wrong. And like I didn't realize that until I noticed that it was bothering her.
I mean, it's like our needs, our wants, our expectations are different, and so the only way we're going to know that is if freaking communicate. You know. Yeah. And so how long did it go on that like you wouldn't just say like for Noe, like no, like I don't want to go out, like let's just sit, like how long did you guys carry this charade?
I think for like a good, like I would say like the first year.
Oh wow.
And like sometimes
Wow.
like it wasn't until like now that we're like comfortable open talking about it. Like it was a while, like we would just like go out or I would just stay in. But we wouldn't really like talk about it. Like I was just I didn't feel like talking about it. And he didn't know what the problem was. How's he gonna know? You know? Like you said, he's confused.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like I noticed the behavior, like when we were going out, or when like or like the opposite, when I was at home and he'd be like, "What's wrong?" You know. And it wasn't until like we finally like we're like, "Okay, this is how I'm feeling. That's how he's feeling." And it was a while.
When did you become aware? Like, were you aware that you felt this need to like entertain? Like, did you know that was why you wanted to get out, or like was that not conscious
I
until
feel
later?
like that was definitely the reason why I didn't want to be home. Cause like I'm just used to like entertaining my guests.
Okay.
Like even it isn't until like my friends are like, you don't have to entertain me,
Yeah.
because they go through the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, they're like, oh, you don't have to entertain me. And it was weird for me because like he didn't know that, so I was just like, oh, well, like I feel like I need to like entertain you.
Yeah, I know, like, and that's funny, and that's like experience, or maybe that was modeled of like if you have people over, you're a hostess with the mostest, where like, like my experience, or sometimes you don't even knock on your friend's door, you just go in like, mi casa is your casa,
Yeah.
like, so that is like funny, and I think Noe mentioned about like being wired a certain way, and until we start getting in college and meeting other people and like opening our mouths and asking questions, we just get stuck in our own little tunnel vision, I guess, Okay, so it seems like you guys learned and grown from communicating, and you guys been 4 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah. 4.
Okay. Do you find that conflict is a healthy part of your relationship?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though I hate to admit it, but yeah. Like I just hate conflict, but like you need it to grow,
Yeah. What is the biggest thing that you guys would fight about? Wait, I want to see if you guys have different answers.
I don't know. How extreme can we go?
Oh, shoot. Whatever.
So he's like, hold on.
Yeah.
I think we have the same answer. I think it's if like one of us like cheats and like we just didn't tell the other person or lost feelings.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know, you?
That's pretty much it. For me, it would be just lying when I know that someone's lying. That's like the biggest. That would get me really, really mad. Like if for an example, like if she does something that I don't agree with, or that is like cheating or something like that, and she would lie, and I would know she's lying, but she would make me believe that I'm not, that I'm crazy, and that's
like
something that
gaslighting.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Gaslighting is like
same.
what I really don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like just because we come from the same background.
Yeah,
Like,
because we've both seen our families
our
gaslight
families.
each other so much.
Yeah.
That,
So it's just
from like generations to generations. We've had so many examples of like what not to do,
What not to do.
for each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are kind of in agreement. You'll never do that. to
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah. That was like the first thing we talked about.
Yeah, that was like one of the biggest things
Yeah.
we talked about, and she thought I was like breaking up with her or something
Yeah.
like that. Because I told her, I was like, oh, like just letting you know, like it's okay if you like lose feelings for me, or if you like have a complete change of heart for our relationship. Like it's okay. Like
It's okay.
I just don't want you to lie about it to me and like waste each other's time.
Yeah,
Like, just tell me.
Yeah, that's super like mature and makes sense. You know what I mean? Because like we don't want that betrayal. Like there's so much other stuff, and I feel like we probably need like a separate video on breaking up and having those like when you lose feelings and how we go about it. But yeah, so now I just like totally went to like what to do with breakups. Anyway, so back to conflict. Okay, so you guys, you mentioned you don't like conflict.
Mm-mm.
Is that, do you know why, or like why you don't like conflict?
I guess the simple word would be like rejection. Like once I say no, they're gonna be like, okay, like I'm out.
Oh, okay.
But like,
so do you have a hard time saying no?
no.
I have
He's
a
like,
hard time.
no. He does.
I have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have a hard time saying no. I guess it's like my way of avoiding conflict, because I feel like if I say no, it might come off as rude or mean or something. Because when I get serious, like I kind of like scare people.
Scary.
Yeah.
And it's just like the way I deliver my words, I guess. So I like avoid saying no a lot.
I mean, that's like a common. It's very common for people to be afraid of saying no. Do you have a hard time saying no?
I feel like it depends because I'm a big like people pleaser. So I like it could be the littlest things, you know. I like, let's say I don't want to get ice cream. Like this literally happened the other day. But my friend, like, she really wanted to get ice cream. I was like, how am I gonna say no?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna say yes.
Oh my gosh.
Because I felt bad, and
Yeah.
I just want everybody happy.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is for me, because like with my friends, I'm really tough with my friends. So with them, I have no problem saying no.
Yeah.
And I have no problem like calling them out for like stuff that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But I guess for like the first couple of years with Itzel, I really had a hard time saying no, because I wanted to keep her as happy as possible.
Yeah.
And like I kind of prioritize her more than like myself. Which I think is like a good thing, but also like too much is like unhealthy for myself.
Yeah.
Which like she realized eventually, and she had to talk with me. She was like telling me like, and shake it off and like say no, it's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Like I mean, and I'm glad you did that, because it is like I do think this is a really common problem, and like, but once we go to like compromising like our own values or principles or health, you know, it becomes like definitely toxic. But so for the ice cream situation, like what do you think would have happened if you said no? Like what, like if you pictured saying no, what do you?
Because let's just put it into perspective. I'm like the main driver of my friends.
Okay.
So if she's like, oh, can we get ice cream? That means can you basically take me? But if I say I don't want it, then she's not gonna want me to drive her. So then I'm gonna feel
There's
bad.
all people pleasing going all around.
So then I'm gonna be like, damn, like she really wants ice cream, like. And even if I say, oh, well, I can still take you, like if she says no, then I'm gonna feel bad, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
So it just comes back to you feeling
Just-
bad to make.
Like I just want her to, like, I just want the other person to be satisfied and be happy.
Yeah. Okay. What if have you ever tried like saying like, hey, I don't really want ice cream, but I'll drive you? Have you tried doing that?
Yeah.
And then she says,
Well, okay, so with my friend, I feel like maybe with my friend, she probably wouldn't care. I feel like with Raven, like, this is like
I wish Raven was here so bad.
This is something that, like, we've been struggling with, and I told her recently, like, if the other person doesn't want to do something, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Because I think we tend to get used to each other saying yes, and like, oh yeah, like, I'll go get food with you, and like, at times it's like, well, what if I'm not hungry?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, but like, I want to eat with you, and it's like, but I'm not hungry. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'll eat just because she wants to eat with me, and it's like, bruh, I'm gonna get fat. You know, so we're trying to like normalize like saying like, no, I don't want to now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because like for that, I think there's a lot like the delivery of it. If it's like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. You know, like that's gonna be way different than if it's like, I know you're really hungry and I just ate. I'm not hungry, and like, can we do something else? You know, like proposing alternatives and but like, because I guess I just get I think when it comes to like girls pack stuff and talking about our self-worth, that it's like putting somebody else in front of us is never like a good, you know, like there's a time to be a good selfish. So like I want us to be able to, and I get it, like sometimes I feel weird saying no, like certain situations, like you don't want to say no to your boss, or you don't want to say, you know, like there's certain situations that have more like, I don't know, just like heavier or more challenged by it. But it's like, if we don't practice, and so I do think that I guess the key is like really practicing saying it politely. And like there is a way. Do you guys have any examples or suggestions on saying no nicely?
I think for that example, I was like Raven. I really had a hard time knowing me, like, I don't feel like eating. And I was like, to me it was like, but I made food, or like my mom made food, like I
So it was like very personal.
Yeah, so I was like, he had to be like, you know, I just ate, or like, hey, I'm trying to like, you know, like watch my eating. And I like, to me, I just didn't get it. And he was just like, I just ate, like I'll still sit with you.
Yeah.
So that was like the compromise. But like to me, I was just like, why doesn't he want to eat with me?
Yeah.
What the fuck, you know?
Would it made a difference if he was like, oh, thank you so much. I know you like worked really hard.
Oh yeah,
It's delicious.
he says that. He's
Okay.
like, thank you for the food, thank you for your offering.
Yeah.
Tell your mom I said thanks.
Yeah.
But I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Or I'll take some to go.
Yeah.
Or I'll still go take you to go get food.
Yeah.
But I just won't eat. But I'll still sit with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I really like that
Yeah.
he says that.
Okay. So what are you working on, like changing your communication style?
Well, at first it's just like communicating first. But yeah, the nice part. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty nice.
It's hard to be nice if we're like reacting instead of kind of responding to it.
Yeah.
So I feel like when we keep fighting or the same conflict kind of comes up, then we're more short-tempered or short-fused. But if it's like, if we're aware that this is something we're working on together as a couple, that it's like, okay, like Raven, I'm gonna tell you this, you might not like my answer, but I have to assert myself and say, like, I really don't wanna do that.
Yeah.
Let's take, oh, and that's what I wanted to add too. Like sometimes it's just making another plan, you know, or like where it's like, you know, like if it's friends or something, like, oh, thanks for thinking of me, but could we do that in 2 hours? You know, I'm not really hungry right now. You know, like I think that helps too, but I think we kind of stop with the no because we assume so much, and then it goes into other things where it's like just be effective with our words. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what do you guys have any? I mean, both of you are in like longer term relationships. Any words of wisdom you would like to share for effective communication, or what you're gonna work on to get better at in your relationships?
I have words of wisdom.
Okay.
Because I'm very stubborn, and Noe knows that. Would be open to feedback. I was just like, I don't want to hear it, or like, no, like I want to talk about it later. But like I realized, like in order for this to work, I need to be able to listen to what he has to say about me, my actions, my words, whatever it is. Like I just needed to be like less stubborn.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Which is true to be like, there's more than one way of doing things, and being open, and like being able to step back and know, like, oh, well, maybe I'm just used to that because my family does that, but not everybody, like not taking it personal.
Yeah, that too. Not taking it very personal. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
I'd say probably just like keep in mind that even if you get along with your partner, their way of thinking can be way different than yours.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff that might not be a big deal to you will be a big deal to them. And keep that in mind. And if they tell you that it's a big deal, let them know that it's not a big deal to you, but that then it's a big deal to them.
Yeah. That's a really good point actually, because that's even like de-escalating thing, like acknowledging like they were really hurt or offended and like validating how they feel. Where I know that would happen to me a lot, like where it's like, what, like that's stupid, why are you mad at that? And you're just like, what do you mean why I'm mad at that? Like, and then I go to like rage, you know, where it's like a simple thing of just like, oh, like that's terrible, I'm sorry you feel that way, whatever the response is. But that's really true of hearing what the words your partner is using to be able to, or anybody's using, just to kind of acknowledge that.
Yeah, because how I would go about it is like I would notice there's a problem and then it wouldn't be a big deal to me, but for her it would be, or the opposite sometimes. And so I would be like I'm sorry, like it's just not a big deal to me.
Yeah.
But if it's a big deal to you, then like okay, then I see that. I'm not gonna ignore that it's a big deal to me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I was gonna kind of say something like not on the whole terms of big deal, small deal, but just in general, like if you're not comfortable with something or you're feeling some type of way, you should just be able to talk about it. And I know it's really, really hard, but that's kind of what a healthy relationship should be. Because if you don't feel comfortable enough sharing that with your partner,
it's kind of a sign.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, or you're not ready to be in a relationship. So okay, I'm gonna kind of just pull from these to challenge our audience then, because it is. I don't know if any of them are easier than others, so I think we're just going to throw out these 3 challenges of, yes, practice communicating, and I think that goes back to the last 2 videos of like being vulnerable, to be able to say like, it hurts my feelings when that happens. And that's like, sometimes I don't know why we don't want to do that. I don't know why it's so scary to express ourselves with like, it makes me sad, or I'm jealous or angry, like, I don't know. But just being able to communicate that to open the conversation. I think acknowledging what's being said. I like your example, Noe. And like, so that challenge of not getting on the defensive right away too. Because I've been in situations where I was like, oh, that really hurt my feelings. And the person's response is like, no, it didn't. That's it. And you're just like, what? I'm telling you, it hurt my feelings. That, like, don't, so I think, like, hearing it and letting myself be vulnerable and just kind of be like, oh, shoot, like, and hearing what the person has to say. And then I think the last one, like, the being okay with saying no and practice saying no and just trying it out, and, like, doing it in a nice way. It doesn't have to, like, no, I'm not doing that, that's stupid, but just kind of like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, but not right now. Like whatever your version of getting used to saying no is, because it's really how they respond isn't your problem. Like if your friend got upset because you couldn't take her to get ice, like that's really like on her, she could problem solve and figure it out. She could order it, do Grubhub ice cream, something. So I think it's like paying attention to that too, that like I have to look after myself. And so with all this communication stuff, I mean, I feel like we definitely are gonna have to do more toolkits on this. This was great. I think I appreciate the lovely couple and being vulnerable, for our audience and sharing, and I like the fist exercise. I do think it just like sheds a lot on like what communication looks like, how we handle conflict. Okay, so I want to offer my services as a confidence coach. Having these conversations are hard, and like we keep saying, it's not modeled for us, and we don't, nobody teaches us this. And so I would like to invite people that are watching to get a complimentary session with me, just to see what coaching is all about and see if it's for you. It doesn't require a commitment, but if you feel you're struggling in your communication skills or low self-worth or limiting beliefs, all these are tied together, and we're a great resource, and so I encourage you to reach out and ask for help.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed our special guest. And if you guys want to hear more about us, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Discord, and just start the conversation with us. We'd love to hear from you all. So thank you guys for watching.